morning. So I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to blow through like a ridiculous amount of content, and the reason I'm doing that is so that you know you can access these slides later. I'm not going to talk about everything on them. I'm going to trust that you all can read this later. All right, so what's going on in the Solar Energy Technologies Office? Who are we and what do we do? We are a financial assistance organization within the U.S. Department of Energy. We're part of the Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy section of the department. It's actually perfect that I'm going after Ellen, who talked about all the other sectors. So the kinds of programs I'm about to talk about, you can do for any of those sort of clean energy technology areas, as well as within fossil and nuclear, although I will say that the Solar Office programs are the best, which is why I'm here. Again, we fund a huge amount of research. 40% of our funding goes to national laboratories, so it's a great reason to partner with them. We also do a lot of work with universities, businesses, nonprofits, state and local jurisdictions. And again, we've got usually upwards of 375 to over 400 projects a year that we're funding. So our program is broken into 5 sub-program areas: photovoltaics, concentrating solar power. Those are two primary technology areas for generating energy. We also have a systems integration team that is looking at how we integrate both into the grid as well as with other technologies, including buildings and other end-use applications. We're increasingly doing some work with the transportation sector and also thinking about fuels and storage. And then we have 2 other cross-cutting programs, one on strategic analysis and balance of system soft costs. These are all the costs that don't have anything to do with hardware, but have to do more with your transaction-related costs, policy and regulatory, workforce development, finance, and new business models, and I'll be speaking largely to what's in that portfolio. And we also have a program that works on competitiveness, manufacturing, and bringing technologies to market, and that's where a lot of our proprietary work goes on. You can get public funding and still be able to maintain some IP within our portfolio. And again, there's a lot more information on our website about the kinds of programs and projects that these folks do. We have a project map. You can even see who's doing work near where you are. Why is solar exciting? Again, we produce a huge amount of data and information on what's going on with solar. Again, the past 10 years have been incredible in terms of seeing a huge rise in the deployment of solar technologies, as well as a reduction in cost that Ellen just recently talked about. And we have roadmaps that we've developed for how we can achieve these goals. We are building upon the work of the Sunshot Initiative, which helped us to see incredible cost reductions between 2010 and 2017. Our goal was to reach 6 cents per kilowatt hour in 2020. We beat it by 3 years. So we've now moved on to looking at why we want to get to 3 cents per kilowatt hour utility scale PV. And again, we see lots of opportunities for continuing to reduce the cost of solar. We do research on ways to get there, and this is an example of the kinds of pathways that one might take in order to achieve goals. This is an example of what happens in concentrating solar power and ways that you can, again, reach some of those goals. And then, again, we've looked at what happens as you reduce the cost of solar. Again, this was the original Sunshot goal, and it basically shows that the U.S. economy will cost competitively deploy a fair amount of solar if you keep it at where we've been. If you can lower the cost of solar a little further, it starts to become an even more significant part of the generation resource mix. But if low-cost storage comes online, it really starts to have huge impacts on the electric sector if the other 2 things weren't ambitious enough. Again, we have a huge amount of data on our storage cost assumptions. We work on a wide variety of storage, not just batteries. And again, it's been a real story for success along with other renewable technologies, solar and wind composing about 2/3 of new generation capacity that gets added every year. So many more of these kinds of resources available to you. There's lots of reasons why we do this. And the solar industry is also delivered on a lot of jobs. It's a great thing. we have detailed analysis on what's going on in the manufacturing supply chain, and we pay a lot of attention to what's going on in a broad range of technology trends, as well as some of the global trends that Ellen was talking about as well. So how do you get our money, right? That's why we're here. Every year, the Solar Office releases competitive financial assistance opportunities. What do we call them? FOA. Every year we put out a financial opportunity announcement. It's on the Exchange website, the ERE Exchange. You can also sign up to get our newsletter. That's going to be in a future slide here. This last year, our funding opportunity announcement was for $130 million. That's typical. We're going to be doing that again this next year, and it ranges, again, it spans all the range of topics that I discussed before, technologies, soft costs, elsewhere. We have webinars about the various topics. We have webinars that are posted on our website where you can go in at your leisure and learn about the process for applying for this. It will walk you through the different components you need to do, and we really do try to make it as user-friendly as possible, knowing that it's still writing at a somewhat complex grant application. We also have some prize and challenge programs, which can be a little bit easier to access. And again, I'll talk more about what we have in addition to or as part of this annual funding opportunity announcement. Just a snapshot of some of the kinds of things that you might see across our portfolio. Again, we've got a lot of work going on in the systems integration part, and then in soft costs, as I mentioned, we're looking at a whole range of different kinds of factors that I think are probably of most interest to you folks, but nonetheless, there's, again, a wide body of data and tools that have come out of the research from these programs. So I'm just briefly going to touch on what we're doing in the soft cost area, because, again, this is where most of the funding that I think is going to be relevant to you is happening. Again, we're working on foundational research, institutional support and technical assistance, training-related activities. This is an example of some of the kinds of programs and partners that we work with on all of this. We have some really cool programs like a local jurisdiction a designation program. So if they implement good programs and policies, they can get designated as soul smart communities. We have a number of challenges. Many of them in the soft cost area are focused on low income and community solar, as that's a sort of rising area where you see some changes in the marketplace. We've worked with states on long-term planning and basically innovations in the policy and programmatic space. Again, I want to mention that we are doing training programs that are not just on things like power systems, but also a lot of related areas like codes and standards. We have folks who are studying real estate trends, folks, again, that are doing policy analysis. And so I just want to make sure that you guys are all understanding that when we're looking to advance training and workforce-related initiatives, we're looking at that whole ecosystem of related fields where folks need to know something about solar in order to do their job, even if they're not a solar installer. So again, community solar, shared solar is a big new area that we've been working on. Access to solar, equity-related issues continue to be something that we have a lot of interest in. So ways, again, that you can interact with us beyond our annual funding opportunity announcement, which again is worth a lot of money and worth taking a shot at. We have a program called the Solar Energy Innovation Network, which is run by NREL. This program works with states and local jurisdictions who want to work on local and regional challenges. These folks are often trying to find partners to do analysis for them. And so these teams do receive funding, and as well as the ability to be part of a peer learning group. They have facilitated workshops and things that they work through, and then they publish real plans for local and regional advancements for clean energy. It's a great program. Our round 2 had topics on rural solar and commercial scale solar, as those are both areas where it's been a bit underdeveloped. The prior round was focused more on resilience and long-term energy planning for aggressive renewable energy targets. This last round just closed on September 4th, so stay tuned for another round, around the same time next year, likely. But the program that I most want to speak about today is a program called Solar Energy Evolution and Diffusion Studies. This is a program that basically has challenged the assumption that reaching cost goals alone is going to be enough to drive solar into the marketplace. We recognize there's a large number of other sort of barriers and factors that go into that. So we wanted to study how that's happening and really look at innovation and diffusion policy. We've run 2 rounds of this. The first round was $9 million. The second round, that round looked at how the technology was changing, what was driving down costs in the manufacturing space. We also looked at how it was diffusing, and you could see that people could see solar on rooftops, and there was a sort of clustering of the diffusion. And then round 2, again, focused a little bit more on organizational and institutional decision making and helped us to build our low-income portfolio. So we've been doing some studies on what drives low-income households, how they think about it. We've been doing some work on knowledge spillovers and how the industry basically is learning to navigate a complex environment. We've been looking at how jurisdictions uptake new policies and programs, either as early adopters or once mandated, like in the case of California. And again, looking at how solar diffuses and the effectiveness of programs like Solarize. So this is a great program. We've run 2 rounds of it, and there may or may not be another round of the SEEDS program in our upcoming funding opportunity. It would be about on track to be coming up in the next year in this cycle. And so, it's a great program that pairs real data in a rapidly evolving field where it's a kind of well-defined snapshot of an industry where you can definitely do a lot of exploration on social, behavioral, decision science, and again, we'd love to see the partnerships between researchers and folks who are on the ground. So this is an upcoming opportunity that I would really like to commend to all of you. We also have a student design competition for those of you who are academic. Again, run by the National Renewable Energy Lab, and great opportunity for interdisciplinary work. And then we've got a couple other ways that you can engage with us. One, we're always hiring. We have a science and technology policy opportunity, again, for recent graduates who would like to come and spend up to 2 years with us, looking at how the whole process of driving innovation at the federal level happens from an executive branch agency. And we have this great Solar Energy Innovators program, which allows folks to go out and do research, either with a utility commission, a utility, or another energy service provider. And I know that at least 1, maybe 2 of our funded Solar Energy Innovators was here at this conference this week. So lots of opportunities. Again, these slides are here for your reference, and I urge you to sign up for our newsletter and learn more about all these programs on our website. Thank you.
I commend our presenters' ways of explaining such huge amount of information in such a short period of time. So how to explain all of these programs in 20 minutes is a huge challenge. Is it okay if I will just give you slides for anyone who's interested in looking at them
I'll
later?
give you a PDF version of this.
So please reach out to me if you want to have the digital copies of these slides. So are there any questions for Elaine?
Yes. The last slide about the innovators,
Yes.
are those academics grants? Who are the
Anybody.
recipients of those grants?
Anyway,
Who is it typically?
it's mostly been folks who are coming out of, it's been largely recent graduates who are sort of trying to figure out how they want to get in on the job market. And, but we also have had some folks who maybe are in a little bit of a career transition time period and who are interested in getting in there. And again, PUCs are really understaffed. And so giving them the opportunity to have someone in-house who can do some work for them has proven to be something that they're extremely hungry for.
And how do they make the link with the, say, the PUC?
You basically, to apply for this program, you need to identify who you want to work with, go in, and then you submit a joint application to basically do a specific scope of work with them. So you would go in and talk to your PUC, let them know what your skills are and what kinds of research you might be able to do and see where their interests are, and then basically we pay for you to do it.
There's time for one short question.
So you mentioned that the commercial solar and the solar in rural communities are relatively understudied compared to residential solar. Are there any specific programs from your office that are funding research in those two areas?
Seeds would be a great place to do that.
But then you may or may not have another round, right? Okay.
It was in our congressional justification, and right now we're on a continuing resolution, so pending appropriations, and I can't commit the federal government to funding. I'm not a contracting officer, but